This week is a brilliant week to start grinding in World of Tanks, and what do I mean by that? Well, it is a fantastic time for you to jump into the game and go through either grinding out silver so that you can earn as much silver as you can possibly need, and of course it's a brilliant time to be grinding out some of the tech tree vehicles as well in terms of XP, and we'll get into all of the content that's come out along with the brand new keycards that Wargaming have brought in to the game as well. And I guess we can start off with that, and then we'll cover all of the update news as well as some of the patch notes, and of course Wargaming's Q&A, which is always one of the fun things to have a look at what Wargaming have said in their live stream. So first things first, we have the Warlord keycards. So what are the Warlord keycards? Well, they are a specific kind of keycard, much like the mythology keycard, much like the kind of event keycards like the commander keycards. They essentially just give you commanders. So I mean, it is what it is. You can get people like Leonidas, you can get Joan of Arc, you can get all sorts of famous historical figures as a 2D commander. So I mean, it is what it is. You can also complete an operation to be able to get these keycards as well, and yeah, you do also have the chance of getting a premium tank, but it is a 1% drop rate, so you'd have to spend what, like £100 or something in that region, well, $149 to be able to guarantee, well, not even guarantee yourself a premium tank, but to be on the drop rate. And of course you could get super unlucky and you would need to spend like $290 just to get one premium tank. And by the way, it is never worth actually doing that. The only reason you would want to be purchasing these is if you wanted the commanders themselves, since they are, you know, the primary feature of this, and you are guaranteed to get them. If you were to open Warlord Commander keycards to try and get a premium tank, then I would highly recommend that you actually just purchase the top secret keycards if you were wanting to spend money on that. But I mean, the tanks that are available, you've got the Caliban, WZ-111, Progetto 46, the Senshi, SDA-2, the Bisonte, the Type 59, and the G-Saw, which are all fairly mediocre. I mean, yeah, they are fairly mediocre. Maybe the best one being the Senshi SDA-2, which is a super cheap premium tank anyway, so I wouldn't go out of my way to get it. You can see on screen right now all of the commanders that you can pick up. You've got Baikui or Liang Po. There's loads of different ones. Philip II of Macedon. I mean, Ptolemy. You've got all sorts of people. Saladin. There's tons and tons of different historical figures, and I'm sure you can pause the video and have a look through some of them. You've got Romans in here as well. Yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of them, which is cool to see them in the game, and I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. And of course, you can earn a Warlord as well, and it's very simple to be able to do. You just have to get 150 points. How do you get 150 points? Well, all you have to do is deal 1,000 damage, or it's a damage requirement. So for example, if you deal 500 damage, you'll get 1 point. If you deal 750 damage, you'll get 2 points. If you deal 1,200, you'll get 3 points. And if you place as the top damage dealer on your team in a battle, you will get an additional 1 point. So you could get up to 4 points within one game, which is pretty nice. I mean, yeah, I think this is a good challenge. It's nice to see them bring in some cosmetics. Whether I'd want to see more and more 2D commanders as opposed to bringing in things like skins and of course like more cosmetic features within your tanks that aren't kind of just in the garage sat around. Yeah, I mean, I would rather see skins, but either way, not going to complain, and of course it's something extra to the game, and it is brand new. So let's jump in back to the challenges and events, because obviously we do have the Warlord kind of keycard event like that we've just seen, but the one thing that actually stood out is that within the next week, you're actually able to get increased XP and also silver during this week. And that will be available right now. As you're watching this video, it went live this morning. So you'll be able to jump on and play it and, of course, take advantage of this. But what exactly is this event? Well, on the first 2 wins, or the first 2 games that you place in the top 5 XP earners on your team, you'll be able to get 100% XP. So take it as almost like a double daily double on your vehicle. So not only do you get the 100% XP boost based on the first win of the day, but also the fact that in those 2 games, if you place in the top 5 XP earners, you can get an additional 100% vehicle XP. And of course, you could always, if you are super into saving your time so that you can get as much XP as possible, I would recommend just playing tanks that you haven't got your daily double in yet, and that way you don't have to play them multiple times. So it's a brilliant way of kind of adding to the grind. And of course, overall, you're going to be able to get, 14 of these 100% vehicle XP boosts over the course of the week, which means, you can take advantage of that on some of the kind of better or worse vehicles, I guess, that you want to get. I mean, if you want to get a vehicle, use it on the vehicle that you need to play to get that one. And of course, a really nice one. And also, alongside this, we also have the Stand and Deliver, which is a silver earning reward, which essentially boosts your silver by 50%. And that is if you penetrate 3 or more shots while receiving 3 or more shots in a battle. Kind of weird how you have to receive 3 shots. It would have been interesting to have the other way around, which is like penetrate 3 shots and not receive more than 3 penetrating shots. I think that would have been cooler. But yeah, 1.5 times silver, and that's available to both multiplayer and co-op only as well. So this is both World War II and co-op. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that in there, and available for World War II and Cold War II. So yeah, I mean, I'd be using the silver boost once I'd gone on to Cold War and put on my own silver boost on top of it, and you'll be able to earn some ridiculous amounts of silver. But yeah, decent kind of extras to this week, and a great time to grind out some silver and XP on some of those tanks that you're not particularly too fond of. But in addition to that, we do have the special sales, which is, of course, something Wargaming have been adding to their bundles and sales that they've been trying to create, all part of this system where they've basically removed the option to just purchase the tanks that you want, and now you're having to pay more gold to get the same tanks, but only in bundles, so that you can't then spend less money on the game for the thing that you actually want, which is basically the underlying cause. It's probably a business decision in terms of Wargaming don't really make that much money off of the premium tanks that they make, as much as that kind of sucks for us. I guess it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest, and this is how it used to be. So console were very lucky that we can actually purchase some of the vehicles individually. It's not usually the case on any of the other platforms. Usually you have to purchase them as a bundle, or you have to actually wait until they come on sale, or even just come on available for people to purchase, not even on a sale, but a lot of the time you're just having to wait until you can pay your money. You're literally standing there waving your money at Wargaming going, when are you going to actually allow me to purchase this broken vehicle that they've come up with? And yeah, it kind of sucks. But yeah, I would have rather had the old system where we can literally just pay for the premium tank that we wanted, but it seems like they are trying to make some more money, and yeah, maybe it's because they just weren't earning enough money from the premium tank. So yeah, I don't know. Either way, this week's premium tanks are the Senshi STA-1, the ISU 130, and the 1357, which are all in one bundle for 14,000 gold. Seems pretty expensive for a bundle, to be honest with you. And for the tanks that you're receiving, I mean, they're not particularly super overpowered or anything. The STA-2 is a good tank. The AMX 1357 is a good tank, but it is probably not new player friendly. So yeah, I mean, the whole lot of these aren't really that new player friendly, but I guess if you haven't got any of them or you're interested in it, then you can get it. And then the next bundle is the biggest joke in the history of World of Tanks, which is the AMX CDC. You've got the STRV S1, which is the Swedish Tier 8 TD, and of course the KV 122, which is the Tier 7, and they're trying to charge 12,800 gold for this, which in my opinion, I wouldn't personally go out and spend 12,800 gold on these tanks, especially considering that the AMX CDC is one of the stinkers in terms of how it actually plays in the current meta of World of Tanks. Its accuracy kinda sucks. The mobility is brilliant. The armor, non-existent. The alpha damage, terrible. Yeah, I mean, it is a bad tank, to be honest with you. But then you also get the triple nickels. Nearly said nipples there, but okay. Chinu Kai here, the tier 5. You get the M4 improved from the Bogatia KV220-2. I mean, if you're after tier 5s, then maybe you'd want to get it. But the KV220-2 is kind of a little bit of a broken vehicle. But the rest of them, I mean, they are what they are. I don't think they're particularly that insane. And then the final one then, we've got Escalation Scouts, which is the Era 2 of the Cold War game mode. And of course this is the RDF light tank, which is actually pretty good. It's an autoloader, and you're able to fire off like 490 shells, and I think you've got like 10 of them or something ridiculous from what I can remember of the actual tank. Oh no, 6 of them, sorry. But yeah, 320 alpha. I think this is actually a slightly different one to the one I'm thinking of, but either way, it's got a good autoloader, but should you go out of your way to get it? I don't know. But yeah, the that tank, pretty decent, and then the Object 934, which is just gigantic and pretty slow and sluggish, and yeah, I don't think I'd really purchase this vehicle any day of the week, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it to anyone else either. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of the bundles. Have you got some of these tanks? Do you disagree, or do you agree, or would you like to see certain tanks coming up soon in the next bundle? Of course, April's tank of the month is the AMX Chaffee, which got buffed since it was introduced originally. Of course, it was introduced as a tier 6 light tank. It then got moved to tier 7 as a light tank because tier 6 light tanks all got moved to tier 7. Well, they all basically went up a tier, and then they got +2, -2 matchmaking, because before these tanks used to meet +3, -2 matchmaking. So yeah, essentially you were constantly playing in never your top tier, essentially. So yeah, I mean, these tanks, the AMX Chaffee, it didn't get the hit point buff when it did go up a tier. It literally didn't change when it went up a tier, and so it had, I think, like 200 hit points less than any other tier 7 light tank in the game, and was essentially just pretty bad. But Wargaming have changed it since, so maybe you'd want to purchase this thing. I actually really like it now. I think it's a fun one, and of course it's a console exclusive as well, from what I can remember, unless they've brought it out on World of Tanks Blitz. It isn't on World of Tanks PC, so it is a console exclusive. It's essentially a Chaffee with, of course, an AMX 1375 turret, and of course 150 alpha. So yeah, a good one nonetheless. And then the weekly sales, you can get 50% off the Vindicator Charioteer, and if you're interested in seeing the Vindicator Charioteer, I did a video recently in the gameplay and tank reviews playlist on this vehicle, and I really liked it. But is it worth 6,300 gold? Potentially. But yeah, that's just how I found the tank. I liked it. I like the Charioteer. I like tanks like that. So yeah, it was a good one. And then, of course, you've got the ×4 Commander XP boosters, which are 58% off, which maybe you'd be interested in getting. But for me, Commander XP boosters, I don't think I've ever really used any of them. So, yeah, nothing too spectacular. And then the STRV M4257, which is the tier 6 Swedish medium tank at tier 6. But this tank, pretty good. It's an autoloader. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good one. Should you go out of your way to purchase it? Maybe. I mean, I really liked it. I found it interesting to play, and I think we went ahead and 3-marked this thing. Not entirely sure, but I'd have to stat check it. But of course, yeah, a very good tank nonetheless. And then, of course, the Soviet Tier 6 tank destroyer, the Su-100Y, which is basically a tank every player should at least experience once in their World of Tanks career. And it's because it is a big, huge box made up of paper. And this tank gets 510 damage. It gets some pretty decent premium penetration as well with 171, so not only do you get more damage, but you're pretty much the same penetration, and this one will wreck your opponents. But yeah, I mean, not the highest damage per minute in the game, but it is still fairly decent, and I've had so many fun games in this thing where I've really enjoyed playing it, so I highly recommend you guys at least try this out. And considering it's only 3,250 gold with a 50% off of this it's only going to cost you like 1,600 gold, which is a very, very good price for the amount of enjoyment you'll get from the tank. It isn't overpowered, it's not like super competitive, but it is a fun one, and especially if you platoon up with your friends with this thing, it'll be even more fun. But the final one then, the G-Saw, 50% off. I didn't really like this tank a whole lot. Felt like the intro clip was a bit long from what I can remember. I think it got nerfed on console as opposed to PC. Maybe not the intro clip, but yeah, it just felt a little bit lackluster. I was hoping that you'd be able to deal more damage. I don't think it's terrible. It just maybe isn't the tank that I'm best suited for, but maybe this sort of tank is what you're after. But it is an autoloader. It has a super long reload, and if you miss any of those 4 shells with the 200 and 320 alpha, so you got 1280 total damage, but you're literally sacrificing all of that damage per minute to be able to get that autoloader. So that's probably why I didn't like it a whole lot. So yeah, I mean, you guys can decide whether or not you want to spend the money on this, but it'll cost you 4,500 gold roughly based on what they had. But other than that, what else is there? Well, of course, there's some contracts that you can complete. Don't forget that you have to go onto the Resolutions website to check into your reward for the Calliope T-34, which is a Sherman that has a rocket launcher on the top of it. Whether or not we'll be able to use the rocket launcher in World of Tanks, but we've still got a long way to actually wait until we can get the Calliope or Calliope, or I don't know, you guys know exactly how you pronounce this, but yeah, the T-34 with the rocket launchers, whether or not we'll get it. It is a World War II tank as well, it isn't a Cold War vehicle, so I'm hoping that it doesn't have rockets on this, because yeah, I mean, we've just kind of balanced high tier artillery, so please don't introduce anything else that's going to break the game. But yeah, fingers crossed it's not too bad. And then, of course, the community map testing is still going on. You've got until the 6th of June to do this. It's been recently updated, and you can give your feedback to WGing on their Discord. And then there's the monthly Cold War deal for some premium tanks. There's the new camo that came out with this new season, the new season itself. And, of course, the new challenges have come out today that you can actually go through to increase your season level much faster, because you get rewarded a ton. And if you're interested, you can always join into the Tanking with TK stream, which is on Twitch and also on the official World of Tanks YouTube channel that you can have a look at as well. And that will probably be live when this video goes live, so stick around and have a look at that after. But other than that, well, let's jump into the kind of Q&A that WGing have given, because they're always interesting to see what they're saying. And the first thing is, could the string theory medals be unified into one? Good news, yes, this was a quality of life improvement added to the UI in this season, so all string theory medals will now be under one medal, and it will show you how many times you've earned it. Nice. Exactly what I wanted. Any plans to rebalance equipment? We did plan it to in the past by making the less popular ones more impactful, but those ideas are shelved for now. I'd actually like to see more equipment, more kind of interesting equipment, even if it is very novel or unique, that it doesn't provide much value to a lot of tanks, but in certain scenarios it would improve certain tanks so that you can have a bit more of a variety within the game. Because I feel like there are 2 different sets of equipment that I use on pretty much every single one of my vehicles. You've got gun rammer, you've got coated optics, and then you've got vents. or you swap out vents for vertical stabilizers if the accuracy's bad, or you swap out vertical stabilizers for maybe camo if you're on a TD and you want to make it like invisible, or there's one other, I guess, which is if you're just wanting to speed up the vehicle. If you're in a very slow vehicle, then you can use the speed boost equipment and then rammer. But I mean, other than that, there's not really a whole lot of things that I would change. There's a ton of equipment there, but most of them are useless, as this implies. But also, I mean, there's so many different things that you can add in, even if they aren't necessarily reliable for everything. And I'll be interested to see what would you guys add as an equipment within the game. That is something I think would be really, really cool to see what you guys actually think. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you actually think about that. And the Kara skin looks amazing. Is there a sign of more PC skins will come to console? So I'm unsure it's a sign, as we don't really want to stop the creativity of the artist. It just depends on the circumstances at the time. So I'm assuming it's like time limitations. If the artist is doing a lot of work on other things, then having a PC skin come in will be much easier, much quicker for them to do, I would assume. So maybe that's what they're getting at, is that, you know, they want to do console exclusive stuff, which is cool and interesting. But, you know, for example, with the release of the information on the Warhammer season, or at least Warhammer feature within this new season, and the E100 that we saw, I mean, I'm guessing that is something that made the artist kind of focus on that for a little bit of time. But what else is there? Why does the Centurion not have the ability to use advanced loader like other auto reloaders? So they've already adapted the reload times, knowing that advanced loader wasn't going to be allowed. So if we did allow it, it would need to adjust the current reload times. I mean, the reload times are terrible anyway. It might become too OP with DPM if we allowed advanced loader on it. Oh dear. I mean, have they actually looked at the actual DPM, the realistic DPM of the auto reloader? I mean, it is absolutely shocking. So I have no idea what they're trying to say here. You would be able to take the 10-second reload and put it as 9 seconds to do 400, when you're looking at other tier 10 mediums like the Centurion being able to reload in about 6.5 seconds. 9 seconds versus 6.5? What are you trying to say? That anything under 9-second reload is overpowered? Does that make all medium tanks overpowered? I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I mean, I would 100% give it the ability to use advanced loader. It absolutely sucks, the fact that this tank has such bad DPM. It kind of ruins the tank. Should it have worse than the other mediums, considering it has a little bit more armor? Yes. But should it be this much worse on the auto reloader? I'm not talking about the single shot. The single shot is kind of fairly well balanced and put in the right place, but the auto reloader is just, in my opinion, way off in terms of how good it is. But can you give the AVRE a 180-degree turret? It's an interesting suggestion, and we have a lot of ideas going back and forth, but they're not planning to adjust any stats or change features of the tank. There are no further updates right now, and they'll continue to monitor the situation. This, in my personal opinion, would be one of the best things that they can do. You've taken an FV4005, essentially. You've taken the same alpha damage, you've stuck it on a medium that's faster than the FV4005. The medium is also smaller. You've given it a heat shield and a HESH shield. It can't be penned by HE. Why would you play the FV4005 reliably, considering that the AVRE is in the game right now? There's very little reason why you would, and I think that if you were to limit the turret, I mean, the FV4005 and the FV215B all have a limited turret as well, and the AVRE is still sat there being like, yeah, don't even worry, I can traverse ridiculous amounts at the same time. Once again, I'm not saying the AVRE is overpowered. It's not an overpowered tank. It is just like horribly annoying within the game, because it can pen any light tanks and anything really easily. People never aim with the tank. I mean, you can literally deal 500 to 600 damage by just splashing someone with the tank, and that means it's rewarding players that are literally like not even aiming for weak points. I mean, they're splashing Mauses and E100s for 400, 500 damage, whilst also being able to bounce the rounds off of the E100 at the same time. So, like, yeah, I mean, the tank just didn't seem to be very well balanced in terms of like enjoyment of the game. It isn't necessarily overpowered, as I've said. I mean, the ability to deal 500 damage, not particularly inherently annoying, but the fact that you're dealing 500 damage without having to aim and hitting like silly spots on a tank and still doing it, yeah, just not good with me. And yeah, I feel like it's just like a skillless vehicle. But you guys know my opinion on the AVRE. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, and I don't enjoy playing it either, and I don't enjoy coming up against it either. I mean, it's just a very boring tank in my opinion. And any more info about Warhammer, let's just say the Emperor has not given his blessing to provide more info at this time. Any plans to buff the Chinese Type 90 and 85? They look fairly healthy right now, but we can pass it on and follow up on that one. Are you planning to add an option to exclude a map like PC? So no plans, as the matchmaker can't support it. I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, the matchmaker is always a bone of contention on console with regards to like limiting certain things on it. So I'm not surprised that this is the case, although it would be good. When will the roundabout return? It's coming roundabout this summer. Oh dear. I hope this wasn't a T-cancer. Oh dear. This is... That's awful. Any plans on Era 3 Brazilian Osorio tank? Nothing scheduled for this year. Any tech tree sales planned for the near future? Yes, there's one coming later this month. I'm loving it. I'm going to be saving up my silver and I'm going to be buying all of the tech trees again, as always. And that's how I ended up spending like 50 million on buying all of the American tanks in the game from tier 5 upwards. Yeah, that was not a good idea. I'm broke again on World of Tanks, but yeah, so the grind goes on Cold War to be able to recoup some of that. Can you eliminate all caps in the new map screen? Yes, it should be respecting the player's own capitalization, so we will follow up on that. Will RT kill medals be changed at all? So apparently we did address needing to get 5 down to 3, but we can follow up on this. Frontlines on console, it's a very complex game mode and it's something we tried to prototype for the game, but ultimately we stepped away from bringing it to our game. We don't have ideas for other game modes. In my opinion, it would be amazing if we can get some event game modes, things that maybe aren't even that special, even if they're like a limited time event where we would be able to maybe deal double damage on everything. I mean, that would be cool. It should be fairly straightforward, I would assume, compared to like making a whole mode that has a different map and stuff like that. Even if they're like limited time event, like a weekend event where you can pick a specific different mode, all it has on it is like double damage or double health or double the penetration so everyone pens everyone, that sort of thing. I mean, that would be kind of cool to see, and of course it would be novel. And I don't think it would take too much time to be able to kind of bring in, considering I guess you would just be doubling the values of whatever is in their code, the actual code values that they use for each of the tanks. Of course, you know, you don't have to play it because it would just be a separate game mode, but it would be cool to test it out. And of course, you could just fill it with bots if you can't find the matchmaker can handle it. You can just do that instead. And even if it was like a, I don't know, like a challenge event, you get like an operation alongside it, and then you have to like grind through like an operation to add in like an extra kind of thing that you can do if you get a little bit bored and you're just going along and all you're dealing damage in is like a PvE game mode where you and your team, your players, against a AI essentially, and you're just completing a challenge or something, you know, that sort of thing. I think that would be cool to see in the game, and I'd like more of it, considering it can get a little bit stale and you can keep doing the same things, and yeah, I feel like it would be a good investment in terms of doing it, and even if you had to like pay for the option to unlock that feature, I would quite happily pay £5 or $10 to be able to unlock the feature to play this game mode, and you know, at least that way Wargaming are getting money back for their development. yeah, I feel like I would rather pay for that than pay for a broken premium that they release, or I would rather pay for that than them, try and develop some commanders or a skin or something. Even though skins are very good and I like them, that's just my take on it. But once again, I'd be interested to see what you guys think. And when's the next tank trading event? So May is when it's drafted for. So yeah, that is everything with regards to World of Tanks consoles news this week. But there is one last thing that I want to cover, and that is the giveaway. You might have seen it in the actual thumbnail of this video, and it is to do with the whole coming close to 15,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable, genuinely unbelievable that you guys have I don't even know where. It's a mad one, and yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. But what I am trying to do is, as with our sponsor recently, I'm hoping that we can actually, you guys will jump in and actually use the sponsor link, download Mech Arena, and then what we can do is then as many people, or depending on how many people download it and complete the tutorial, that's all you have to do. It takes about 10 minutes roughly to be able to do that, and then all you have to do is screenshot it and post a link on my Discord channel, which I'll leave a link in the description along with the link to download the game itself. So make sure that you use the link there, and then what I'll do is I will hopefully, once we've got enough people, and once the event actually ends, which is in 4 days' time, so we've got 4 days that you can jump on. I mean, even if you just did one game a day, you'll be able to enter in. And then what I'm going to do is reserve a total amount of gold that I'm going to give out to you guys. I'll just give you the option of getting a premium tank or anything that you want on the game that is giftable within the game itself, and that way you'll be able to pick whatever you want as part of the giveaway, and yeah, as long as you've just posted a screenshot of completing the tutorial, and if you've got multiple people that you can do it on and you post multiple screenshots, obviously it's going to increase your chances, and the bigger the amount of people that do complete the tutorial and help me out, yeah, I will increase the amount of gold that we'll be giving away corresponding to that. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how many of you guys jump in, and of course the smaller amount of people, the better in terms of your chances of winning, but the bigger the amount of people, the more gold we're going to be giving away, so relative to how many people. So it's not going to make a difference, so make sure that you jump in. We'll give more prizes out depending on how big it is. And yeah, I'll be interested to see what you guys think about that. And yeah, thank you very much. And of course, thank you to Mech Arena as well for sponsoring the stream that we've done recently. And it'll be interesting to see how many we get. And of course, getting super close to 15,000. So if you haven't subscribed already, it would be amazing to see you guys jump on and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully we can get there really soon. I mean, we're 200 subs away, which is mad. Yeah, I don't even know what to say, but thank you so much, and I hope that you at least get something back from the giveaway. And if you don't actually manage to win or you don't participate, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week, and yeah, just have a brilliant day.